Article number 2, amendment to the town charter, treasurer. Shall the municipality approve the charter amendment reprinted and summarized below? Words removed are bracketed and new words are in bold. Section 5.7, treasurer. There shall be a town treasurer, hereinafter called treasurer, who shall have all the powers and duties granted by this charter in state law. The treasurer shall, and this is the language suggesting to be removed, shall be elected on an at-large basis to a term of 3 years at the town election, to be replaced with, appointed by the town council upon recommendation of the town manager for a 1-year term. Vacancies in the office of treasurer shall be filled pursuant to state law. If the amendment is adopted, the town treasurer shall be appointed by the town council instead of being elected. If the amendment is adopted, the elected treasurer shall remain in office until the 2025 annual election. If passed, this article will require the town to raise $0 in property taxes, resulting in a tax rate impact of $0 in fiscal year 2025 based upon projected assessed values. Mr. Chairman, what was the town council's vote on this article?
4-1, yes.
Budget committee?
The Budget Committee voted 3 in favor and 4 against.
Thank you. I will now accept a motion to open this article for discussion.
Jim.
Mr. Butler.
So moved. Second.
This article is now open for discussion. Do we have a presentation on the article?
Mr. Moderator, Article 2 would amend the town charter, making the town treasurer position an appointed position instead of an elected position. The treasurer position would be appointed by the town council for a 1-year term.
Thank you. The floor is now open for discussion on this warrant article. Please come forward, state your name.
Hi, I'm Tara Miles, 11 Lancaster Drive. Thank you for allowing me to share my comments. I support this warrant article. The treasurer of a town requires certain skills to operate. They require qualifications. Their resume needs to speak to the needs of the role. Imagine if an entrepreneurial youth at 18 decided to run for this role. While I hope they have a great mathematical foundation coming out of Londonderry High School, those skills wouldn't be enough to manage our town's finances, our hard-earned money we pay in taxes. What if someone with a political agenda came in? What if someone with the best intentions, but not equipped to actually do the role? We elect our town council to take the time to evaluate and decide on the qualifications of candidates to find the best person to support our town and do the job well. Our elected town council and their supporting town employee members are equipped with the time and resources to evaluate candidates to ensure our finances are protected. We are behind other New Hampshire towns in providing ourselves that financial security, so let's make sure we protect our hard-earned tax dollars.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. My name is Tom Dolan, 19 Isabella Drive. And I stand before you on this article, but first I wanted to say thank you. We don't say that enough. Thank you to all those serving the community in front of me, the town council and the budget committee both. It's a lot of work. People who haven't done it don't realize it's a lot of work. What I wanted to say is this town treasurer position is, in my view, an antiquated position that as we look across the budget and scrub it and look for every crumb we can get, try to save money, this is an opportunity for us to save $3,000, put it back in our citizens' pockets, and turn the responsibilities of the town treasurer over to the finance director. All those duties that need to be performed will still be performed, and the town can save $3,000. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hey, Cameron, you got my name? Daniel Bouchard, 8 O'Connell Drive. I've attended a lot of these meetings. Last year, I voted against this, and I felt it should be up to the voters to decide. The voters did decide. This year, when I was attending the meetings, and I understand what you're facing, okay? And I asked Justin, the criteria, is there going to be a criteria and stuff? And he explained that, swayed me to support this. However, I have been a resident of this town, all right, since 1980. Been coming to these town meetings. Never, ever in the last 2 years have I been so disgusted with the address to the Town of Londonderry's report. And now that leaves me to say, I don't know if I would support this because of this, all right? I was all in favor of this, but I'm not sure which way I'm going to go after hearing a report from our town manager. That's all I got to say on this. Thank you.
Kathy Wagner, 12 McGregor Court, Unit 403, I'm my spiel. 15 Parmenter Road and 4 lots on Hovey Road at the Pillsbury Cemetery. So I got my residency covered probably for the rest of my days here in Londonderry. I'm the current town treasurer, and I'm very much in support of seeing it going to an appointed position. I know a lot of people are worried that if it becomes an appointed position because of current atmosphere, that it would allow too much power in too few hands. But the sad part is the treasurer really doesn't have the large power to, other than run on an agenda and wreak havoc. I don't make the budget. I'm going to put one of you on the spot. What does it say on every time? Well, first of all, who votes on the money? It's the town council. And every single order that comes to the treasurer, what does it say? Anybody remember what you say at the bottom paragraph that goes on everything?
By the order of the town council.
Correct. And that's how I expend the funds. I am not the budget maker. I don't get to expend funds unless I get by the order of the town council. It is I agree with Tom Dolan in the sense that it is an antiquated position. It was done for all the right reasons. When we were incorporated, just like any business incorporates, you have a group of officers. But I feel that the position has outgrown the fact that the individual needs to be elected. I know a lot of people come up here and make the argument that the voters voted on it last time, and why are we bringing that up again? There was a lot more information that was uncovered in this round of discussion. Mr. Moderator, could someone please give me at the table what were the new criteria that was found out that we did not know when we voted last year?
Someone address that question?
So what we explored and didn't know last year is we went to the state and asked the state if we were able to do a formal background check on the town treasurer, which is something we can do under the appointment process, but it is not something we can do under the election process.
Granted, if anybody's that moral bankrupt, whether they're appointed or elected, they have the opportunity to steal. But I would hope that with that background, steal or embezzle or just be difficult. So that's not the reasoning for this, is to say, oh, we're going to appoint somebody, and we might get it wrong, we might get it right, just like you do when you elect somebody. But you have a little bit more control than you do anybody just coming in and saying, I'm going to put my name down, and maybe even run opposed, because the treasurer I don't think a lot of people are aware of the treasurer, it's only been in the last couple of years that this has even become a topic and an awareness. I can't tell you, 1 year I did a writing campaign and I won. 2 years I've run unopposed. It was not a high-level, high-profile job. And if good people without an agenda, that's the key word, without an agenda, who just wants to serve their community ran, That's a good thing. But a person who wants to serve their community can still do it at the appointed level. And let me make this perfectly clear. I will not, this person that becomes appointed should not be someone from the town, but a citizen of Londonderry. And trust me, if it gets pointed to employees already existing in the town, I will be back as your most miserable nightmare. I'm not kidding, you know that, Jim. It has to.
I agree with you.
For this to happen, it has to go to a citizen of this community. Justin, how many towns in the state of New Hampshire appoint? I know there's 200 towns, and I know the number isn't even close, but I think everyone here needs to be aware of the list of towns that have gone to appointing.
So I went and
sorry.
looked up the closest population size to the town of Londonderry, which is the top 15 population size towns in New Hampshire. Out of those 15, 13 of them appoint.
Could I have the list, please? Mr. Moderator? Can he read the names of the town?
Can we make the list available to Ms. Wagner?
Yes, it is Manchester, Nashua, Concord, Derry, Dover, Rochester, Rochester, Merrimack, Hudson, Bedford, Keene, Portsmouth, Goffstown, and Laconia. Salem and Londonderry are the only two in the top 15 that elect their treasurer still.
Okay, thank you. My next question, Mr. Moderator, I don't need a dissertation. All I want is a yes or a no, because it wasn't aired in public. Who are the 4 budget committee members that voted against it? And it is only a yes or a no.
So the 4 budget committee members that voted against were Ryan Cronin, Maureen Hardy, Sarah Meyer, and Jason Goldman.
Thank you. Okay, so just to close, I really think that it is time that we appoint. I do believe the stipend should continue if it is a Londonderry resident. If a town employee gets selected, as I told you, I'll be back, but they don't deserve any more money. They get paid enough. We do have a finance department. It's not like the treasurer is the treasurer in the sense of they've got, we're too large now for one person to get paid $2,500 to balance the books of, what are we, Mr. Moderator, what's our number?
45 million.
For the town? Justin, how much goes through the books? I'm sorry, I should be going through.
133 million.
133 million, okay. All right, thank you.
Thank you. Are there any other comments?
My name is Maura Ryan, 2 Snowberry Hollow. If the town and budget members who could give me their top 3 points on why they would vote for or against this, I would appreciate that.
In summary, council member who voted against it, please provide your reasoning.
Sure. I voted against it, and I respect Justin and I respect Kathy's opinion. My opinion is I believe it should remain elected. I believe in the people, that the people will pick the right person, and I believe the same corruption can happen whether it's appointed or it's elected.
Thank you. Briefly, budget committee members who voted against this, please state your top 3 reasons.
Point of order, Mr. Moderator.
Yes, sir.
The citizen asked for 3 quick bullet points from the people who voted for and against.
Oh, my mistake. So, please, 3 quick bullet points from each of you.
Honestly, last year I voted no on this. I think the eye-opening thing for me was that changed my vote this year was that the town treasurer herself supports making this appointed. I think we should do what we can to protect ourselves from any chances for improper activity by an individual, and this is a way for us to at least do a background check and be safer about the process.
Thank you.
So I voted in favor of it this year. Last year when it was on the ballot, I voted no. But what was eye-opening was that this was coming from the town and the town treasurer herself. of wanting this to go from an elected to an appointed position and the reasons to protect the town's finances, it gives the council the ability to run this background check on an individual, and also should the appointed treasurer be acting against the town's interest, it allows the council to remove them swiftly.
Thank you. Ms. Hardy?
Hi, I'm Maureen Hardy, and I voted against this warrant article. And my reasoning pretty much echoes Ron Dunn's reasoning, Councilor Dunn's. I really feel, even as our town manager spoke about the spirit of the people of Londonderry, that it's the people of Londonderry who should be choosing our treasurer, and it should not be appointed, it should be an election.
Hi, Kate Burbidge. I voted in support. My reasons are pretty much similar to Joe and Patrick's. The current town treasurer supports this. I think there are very good reasons for running a background check on somebody who's going to be handling $133 million a year. And this also allows us to remove them if the need arises for that. So.
Ryan Cronin, I voted against, opposed to making this an appointed position, primarily the reasons that Councilor Dunn and Maureen spoke to. But just a couple points. This does not eliminate the opportunity for corruption or for malfeasance to happen. And I would say that when it comes to an agenda, there's no void of agenda on the town council potentially with the placement of this position. And if you do get it wrong, the town does not have an opportunity to right that wrong. It lands on the town council. I think the voice of the town needs to be heard when it comes to the treasury position.
Jason Goldman, I voted against. So the issue of background checks was raised. The actual language here doesn't actually address that issue at all. So the right logical step would be a requirement to have a background check for all appointed positions if you believe that should be the way. This article is simply an appointment. The town council currently appoints the zoning board and all vacancies in elected offices. And it's actually worth noting here that there's a citizen petition, another article that addresses that. In the future, I think that the town council's current appointment powers should not be expanded currently.
Sarah Meyer, I definitely voted against this for all the same reasons, so I'll just keep it short and sweet. Power to the people, let people vote.
Thank you. Are there any members of the town council who voted in favor who have a point to make different than anything that's otherwise been stated?
I have nothing to add at this moment, maybe later.
Okay, thank you. Further discussion?
Good morning. I also would like to thank you all. I think that the work is very hard, and I appreciate everything that all of you do for our town. My name is Martha Smith, and I live at 38 Shasta Drive. And I just wanted clarification. Tom Doyle was an earlier speaker, and he said that he supported this because it was going to save the town $3,000. I'm not supporting or against this at this point. I just want to know how we're saving $3,000 if this gets passed.
We're not.
Thank you.
Today, the stipend is $2,500. As the council sits today, if this article passed, it would be my belief that the council would support going to someone other than an employee. I think the council would support going with a citizen versus the finance director. Another council may vote another way or may do something different, but today the charter calls for a $2,500 stipend.
So, just to clarify, so if this is elected or appointed, the pay scale for this person, whoever it may be, will be $2,500.
That's what the charter states.
Thank you.
Any further discussion?
Sean Faber, 73 Old Nashua Road. I've been through the presentations of these several times, and there's good points made on both sides. The one thing I think about is this comes down to trust. And when we formed this government back in 1776 and threw off King George's rule, part of the reason we kept that power is by dividing where that power resides. I think that concentrating this power into the town council's decision, while I'm not saying that that won't end up with a better result at times, in the future it may not. And so when I have to put this very delicate trust on people, I'll choose the voters every time because we have the right to right that wrong. And it's a tricky situation, but that's where my trust lies. Thank you.
Richard Blinsky, 89 Hall Road. Just for full disclosure, I was the treasurer for the town from 2001 to 2004, and I'm against this, and I'm against this for quite a few reasons. I do see the town's point. You have a little more control over them, and that's part of the problem with this. When I was elected town treasurer, the first thing the town tried to do to me is leave my signature stamp in the office so they could use it willy-nilly. When I refused to do that, they say, can you sign blank checks then and leave us with blank checks? What is it going to be like if they appoint somebody and that person's beholding to them? It's not a good thing. You need a third, you need an independent set of eyes outside that can look at this. We also didn't have an assistant town treasurer when I became treasurer. Hadn't for years. I brought that up. And it was only like 3 months in, and I got, why did it take you 3 months? Well, why didn't we have one for years? If you don't have an assistant town treasurer, I'm not saying we're going to get rid of that. In my case, as an outside person, not an accountant, I said, look, if something happens to me, accounts payable, accounts receivable, payroll, nobody gets paid. So I made sure we had somebody in place. And part of the process through the state is the treasurer can pick who they want in that position. They then come before the council, selectmen, whatever you have, to be voted up or down. I brought people forward. They didn't want who I picked. They didn't want them because they kept having people that were in their so-called group send me emails saying I'm interested. Well, I wanted somebody that was going to be independent and wasn't going to be controlled and wasn't part of the establishment. And if anybody thinks I'm lying about this, I still have the emails from 2001 where this stuff was sent to me that I'll share with anybody. This needs to stay independent. If it should get voted in, I agree with Kathy, and very seldom do her and I agree on anything. It cannot be a town employee. Right now, if it was Justin, I got full trust in Justin. I've talked to Justin, but Justin may not be here in a year or 5 years or 10 years. So it's nothing against Justin if he would have been the individual. It needs to be independent. And just because you're not an accountant doesn't mean you don't know. I had a purchasing policy put in place. I made sure we had a backup in case something happened to me. And by the way, a year after I was in office, I had a heart attack. All right, and I was out. I was only out for a week, but we had somebody in place. Had I not done that, nobody would have got paid. No bills would have got paid. It is what it is. So if you're going to do this, or it needs to be changed so it's not somebody within the town. They need to be independent. You get a town employee who's put in this position, and people are going to say, oh, that's the wrong thing to say, but people that know me, I say it the way it is. You're controlling them through their paycheck. They don't do what you want. You make it a little tough on them. If they're independent, you can't do that. That's what I got to say on this issue.
Thank you. Further discussion?
Mr. Town Moderator. Mr. Town Moderator.
Who's calling?
This is Ted Combs.
Yes.
Quick question for our Finance Director, Justin. How much would you say percentage-wise are we paying out bills from the town digitally compared to physical checks?
At this point, we have moved mainly to digital platforms as a way to both increase revenue through credit card rebates, as well as a way to increase our security through a system that allows for premium ACHs to get us a rebate, and more secure payment methods through one of our banking vendors. I don't have the exact percentage, but it is definitely in favor of the electronic method, heavily.
Is it
I'd say we run about 12 to 20 checks in-house, and that's a high estimate, weekly. The rest are all processed through either credit card or our bottom line Paymodex system.
So it's less than 10%?
Yeah.
Thank you.
So essentially, this position, when it was created about 300 years ago, is now almost an antiquated position, as everything is done digitally, and technology has greatly improved over time to be able to have a lot more control over our accounting systems. Is that correct?
I would agree that it has improved, yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Christine Perret, 5 Wesley Drive. I must be antiquated because I still pay by check. I have a couple of concerns. My first concern is Justin put out very specific criteria that he wanted this person to have, which is great. But my concern is this going to turn into another position within the town? And I have a concern about that. Appoint them, put them in, and then, well, Justin needs help, so let's make that a full-time position with partial being the treasurer. So that's a concern that I have.
That would require a charter change.
It would require a charter. Well, we can change our charter, but thank you for that. My other concern about it is, will this person end up being a union employee?
No.
Absolutely not.
Absolutely. They're appointed by charter.
They're appointed by charter. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
That's reasonable. Yep. I agree.
Tony DeFrancesco, 1 Cheshire Court. So I'm in favor of this article. Change is hard. I think it's, and I agree with Tom Dolan. I think that the position is overstated. I don't think it's necessary. But I will tell you that currently, and let's be clear, what we have in front of us is basically a board of directors. Call town councils, but it's really a board of directors that are voted on by the general public. As one voter, I trust those folks, the town councilors, the board of directors, more than I do the general public at the voting booth, because many people, unfortunately, that come to the voting, for those that vote, are uninformed or underinformed, and they're not quite sure what they're doing, and that's a little bit scary. So what I'm saying is, I'm in favor of this because I trust the town council to do the right thing, because I trust the people that I voted for, but you know what, more importantly, I trust the people I didn't vote for, because that's the balance, right? That's where you get your best votes, because you have a balance between who you voted for, who you didn't vote for, and that is what makes for good results, one person's opinion. So I will vote in favor of this. I hope that other people do as well, and I thank you for all your hard work and your time. Thank you.
Deb Paul, 118 Hardy Road. I am opposed to this. I am opposed to this because A, we voted no already, and B, we've had a treasurer for a very, very long time, and there's never been an issue. And if somebody is going to steal money, embezzle, do whatever, they're going to do it whether they're appointed, elected, or an employee. That type of person is that type of person, background check or not. And that's my own opinion. But to what Councilor Combs said, if this is so antiquated and it shouldn't be a big deal, what does it matter? So keep it elected and keep it so that it represents some of our history. And I, again, say no to this. There is really nothing to fear, and I think it's kind of sad that we're trying to instill fear into people. Anyone in financing can embezzle or cheat or whatever. That person is that person, and they're going to do it no matter what. So I just vote no. Thank you.
Jonathan Esposito, 5 Shelley Drive in Londonderry. Mr. Moderator, folks in the town, appreciate you being here on behalf of our community. I must be one of those uninformed citizens that Mr. DeFrancesco was talking about, but I did wish to just raise a couple points that I believe are pertinent in being opposed to this modification and making the town treasurer appointed. Number one, this has already soundly been defeated by the voters at the ballot, so the fact that we're considering it again less than, really only a year later, really is a question of bad faith. Number two, the current elected town treasurer has testified herself at prior meetings of the town council that there has been no significant issue with her office during her tenure or prior that she is aware of that necessitates this change. So we're considering a significant change to how our town government is structured and how an elected position functions, primarily on the basis of the possibility of future fear. Fear is never a good reason for any decision making. And number three, a couple points that I would like to raise that Mr. Campo has agreed with me on in the past at public meetings of the town council is we already have an effective rule of three. So in the finance sector, right, you have an accountant who would make entries in your general ledger, you have a senior accountant who would review that work, and then you have a controller, a CFO, a director of finance, somebody who is kind of overseeing and rolling that up and will catch any discrepancies. You see it the same in the federal government. You have a financial analyst making entries, you have a senior analyst who's reviewing that, and then usually have some form of administrative officer who is rolling that up, who also functions as a third check and balance against any, not only errors, but malfeasance. We already have that here. We have the town treasurer, who is an elected official beholden to the public. That's one check and balance. We have the town finance director, assisted by the town manager, who function as another check and balance in any transactions that the treasurer is involved with. And lastly, all of these are governed by rules, procedures, and policies that are set by the New Hampshire Department of Revenue. So we have a clearly defined structure where there are three separate checks and balances to anything that the town treasurer is doing. There is no reason to take away one of those legs to bring the town treasurer under the appointment of the rest of the officials of the town, and now effectively only have two checks and balances, the town and the New Hampshire Department of Revenue. That just doesn't make good financial sense, whether we're discussing it in the private sector or government. Thank you very much.
If there are others considering speaking on this article, I'll ask you to please choose your comments that are new to the discussion.
My name is Phil Stebbins. I'm from 17 Hardy Drive. I think I've heard a lot of good arguments on both sides of this issue. I'm glad that the town population will have a chance to vote on this. There is one thing that hasn't been brought up just in the wording of this. It sounds, since it says appointed by the town council but upon recommendation of the town manager, it implies that the town council can only appoint someone who's recommended by the town manager.
That's the way we have to state it according to the Department of Revenue and to the Secretary of State's office when making a charter change like this. The town council can reject anybody the town council brings forward and bring its own candidates forward.
Okay, so this doesn't imply that.
Well, it would be the process that we would follow, and if
I just didn't want the town council to be that they could only appoint somebody that an employee of theirs recommends. That's my concern.
I guess as an example, the town manager will, is our operational person, otherwise, be our CEO. And they would bring forward things like recommending the fire chief. If we don't agree with who the town manager is recommending as the fire chief, we don't have to accept them.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Moderator, I'll add into that with the recommendations of Justin of what we would like to see of qualifications for this position. We would have the finance director and the town manager to review these qualifications and say that these would be the good candidates to submit to the town council. It wouldn't just be handpicked people that are coming out of the sky. It would be people who are looking at these qualifications.
Thank you, Mr. Combs.
Thank you. Ann Champa, 20 Wedgewood Drive. If I remember correctly, during the last election cycle, the town voted in the town council and the town clerk. Should we trust, the townsfolk to get it right? I think they did. Every year we vote you, and cute lady down at the end, Sherry Farrell, as who we want to represent us in town. So all of a sudden, we're switching over like we don't trust, we have questions about the town treasurer and all that. That's just another person that handles money in town. You discuss money all the time. Sherry's town clerk, she sees a lot of money going through her department. Vote no on this. I think the town should get to vote on the town treasurer, just like we get to vote on you, and you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
No.
All right. Seeing no further discussion, this article will move to the ballot as written. I will accept the motion to restrict reconsideration. In your name, sir? Thank you. Do we have a second? Martha Smith, second. All those in favor of restricting reconsideration, please raise your cards. Thank you. By a majority, that passes. Reconsideration is restricted.